to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit.
Hello, once again, all men in the Diocese of Miami in the Southeast. This is Michael Bachlig, and I'm joined by Father Hans for another in our Ask Father Hans series. Father Hans, good morning.
Good morning, Michael, and good morning, Antiochian men.
Here's our next question, Father. Can you explain how becoming wrapped up in sensuality can prevent us from becoming the men that God intended us to be?
That's a great question. And it's a great question because our whole culture is it's geared to arouse sensuality. I'm going to go to a great book that I love, and it's called Unseen Warfare by St. Theophan the Recluse. Don't give room to sensuality. What's sensuality? Sensuality is playing with the sexual charge. It's playing with the stimulation you feel when you're looking at things you should not be looking at, when you're letting your imagination run wild, particularly in sexual stuff, but it can be anything. It can be anything that gives an occasion to the flesh to give you comfort. That's really what it is. Sensuality is every man deals with it, but we have to put it away from our life, because what it does, it dulls what the Spirit of God, what the Lord is trying to instruct us in and help us see. There's a battle in man, and it's the spirit versus the flesh. And St. Paul talks about this in detail in the book of Romans. He says the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. The only way we can make progress in the spiritual life is if we crucify our flesh, if we put to death the death that still reigns in our members, in our body. Right? Now, there's a particular ordering on how to live life. But one of the things that goes into disorder very easily is this whole notion of sensuality, where I can only speak in plain English, and I'm not good at subtlety. So I'm just going to say it. I'm just not. I don't understand subtlety. I don't do it well. But where we charge ourselves a little bit to give ourselves comfort, we charge ourselves up. Every man knows what I'm talking about. Okay, to give ourselves comfort. Oh, I've got a difficult situation at work. Oh, I've just had an argument with my wife. Oh, somebody just beat me up unfairly. All the stuff that makes up life, what we want to do is we want to coddle ourselves. And the way that we coddle ourselves is we allow the sensuality to arise, because it makes us feel better. It makes us feel good. But what it does, it quenches the spirit. It quenches the spirit. Now, there is so much in our culture that is geared towards sensuality. I mean, I can't watch movies anymore. I used to love movies, but I tell you, I can't watch it because now I see that it's geared towards arousal. It really is. I go, why do I want this hassle? Why do I want it? Why do I take it into my life? Right? When I know that I have to keep myself sharp. I have to keep my mind clear. It's the only way I'm going to survive in this culture where a great spiritual war is going on right now. And so I shut it off. I don't want to deal with the outflow of that, right? I don't want to deal with the cleanup. I don't want to enter into that because it quenches the spirit. I have to bring my flesh under control. I have to strengthen the spirit. And that's the way of the Lord. In St. Theophan says, desire arises. This is how it works on deep structure in the soul. he says, desire arises. The desire will just arise. Sometimes you don't have any control over that, it just arises. But the will kicks in when you become aware of the desire, and at that point, you have a choice on how you're going to deal with it. If you go off into sensuality, maybe not overt sin, but you start playing around with it in your mind. Okay, you go one way, the end of that way is going to be death, which is a estrangement from God. If you crucify your flesh, you bring your flesh into subjection, and you fight against the sensuality, and you fight against the sensuality by seeking Christ. In an earlier podcast, I said when we are weak, we become strong, and we recognize our weakness, and we recognize our vulnerability to that, but we seek Christ. You read the Psalms, you pray, okay, you flood your mind with things that give life, things that are edifying. You take the right path, you become stronger. You become stronger. And then as you continue that, what happens is the desire becomes purified. And when the desire becomes purified, that's part of our redemption, our part of being made the new creature in Christ. It's part of learning how to be a co-creator with Christ. Now, having said all of that, you have to be vigilant. There's just no way, because the culture, I talk a lot about the culture, but the culture knows, it knows the weak spots of the soul. You know, the energy in the culture is primarily a commercial energy. That's not a bad thing necessarily. It's not. I mean, we have to build houses. Okay, we have to produce food. There has to be means of exchange and all that. And there have to be medicines, and there has to be operating rooms, right? All those things are good. They're a net good, all right? But this commercial culture also drives the products that create weakness in the souls of men, okay? So that is where the personal responsibility comes in. Then we'll be okay. Then it'll work.
Open to me the doors of repentance, O life giver, for my soul goes early to the temple of thy holiness, coming in the temple of my body.